Hello everyone, I'm happy to showcase today our latest dashboard and also a quick way how we can get started in Theneo. So this is our latest dashboard. If you prefer dark mode, you can always switch it right from here as it is common in any of our products. So what you see here is first the activity log from my team. I see quick analytics here. There is also a quick start guide that you can always check out here. And all the recent projects that I have created. Some of them are private, some of them are public and draft, etc. Also, if you haven't already activated, you can activate ChatGPT in your documentation. So on top of having our own language model, we also have integration with ChatGPT. So let's first create a new project. So I'm just going to create a project, add a title. So I'm going to call this demo new dashboard. And if you want to, this would be a perfect time to connect to your Postman account. And once you pull your collection, it will be automatically synced. But let's upload a spec. I'm going to be uploading a Swagger pet store. So the next step is, if you want to skip all of this, by the way, you can just click on Setup Later, or you can select Technical AI Writer Assistant. So right now we have three options. You can select Full AI Assistant, where we generate everything for you from all the sections, all the descriptions for the parameters, responses, etc. Or we can also enhance existing content. So if you already have something in your spec, we can just add any of the missing elements. And then lastly, no AI assistant, so we do not generate any additional content. But let's go ahead and add full AI assistance. And here, that's where I can add my team members. If I want to, I can send them an invitation. We have viewing and editing permissions. So if they're a viewer, they can only view the document. And if they're editor, then they can collaborate on the project with you. And they can collaborate either from VS Code or even deploy from GitHub or just from our platform. And obviously, you can also choose if you want that document to be private or public. I'm gonna make this private and let's finish our setup. And if I want to, I can set up the automation. So we have different tools from GitHub, Bitbucket, VS Code, etc. We also have, like I said, you can also integrate with ChatGPT, where inside the document, the users can ask the question. I'm going to demo that very briefly. And lastly, you can also customize it so the document looks more of like your own product and fully have the customization option from all the elements that you see in the published doc. So let's complete this. And while this is generating, which it should take a couple seconds or a couple of minutes, depending on how, well, it's already done. So by the time I was logging, this was already completed. So what we can do is we can click on go to preview and see how all that looks like. We can go to the editor where we can collaborate with others and go back to the project. Let's click on preview so we can see how the doc looks like, and we can make additional changes if we need to. So everything that you see here from all the sections with all the descriptions, etc., all of that has been generated by our AI. So nothing was written by me, as you can see. But let's say I want to make additional changes. First, let's go ahead and publish this. And I'm going to go back to the editor. And I'm going to make a few additional changes. So let's say I want to add in the API reference also some error messages or error codes, etc. So you can use in our editor. So first I can change things around of the formatting or add additional widgets. So we have your standard widgets like images, videos, etc., but we also have API specific widgets. So things like error codes and status codes, I can always add that. And here I already have language box and base URL. But if you don't want to highlight that, I can always remove it. For the base URL, if you have multiple environments, you can always enable that as well. So let's say I want to add here some sandbox. Now that will show up in the documentation as well as in the API Explorer where the users can test those API endpoints. So let's go to main section here for the pet. And what I'm going to be adding is the endpoint summary. So we showcase what are all the endpoints that are being discussed here. The same goes for the store and the user. So let's say I also want to create a new section. Maybe I don't want to mention here in the API reference all the error types. I'm going to remove these and maybe create a new section called errors. And this is like a blank canvas for me. If you have any kind of content already, like a markdown content, you can just simply copy and paste it and we'll be able to automatically detect it, or just add it, right here. It's very simple. So I'm going to be adding here error codes and status codes. And just a quick message, this is, or I can maybe highlight it in call out, test, etc. So now let's go ahead. I can either preview this before I make changes, but I'm going to go ahead and just publish this so we can have a look at this. And I can change from here, dark and light mode, and this is how it looks like, the highlight. I can leave a comment also, and it will show up in our analytics page. So let's put this test. Let's maybe put in other sections, yes. Etc. Okay. I can also see all the responses. And also great thing is that I can even try out the API in real time. So I can click on try in API Explorer and try out the API in real time. So let's say I want to add here the categories, etc. I can go ahead and add it. And I'm going to click on run. This is a fake API. So, I didn't know this was a real API. So I'm getting status for 200. Okay, that's good. And if I'm a developer and I prefer to go to code view, I can just simply switch to code view. Or if I'm not a developer and I prefer to just fill out the form as it is as easy as filling out the form that I don't even need to set up Postman account or anything on another platforms. And if I have a sandbox environment, it just takes seconds to switch to sandbox environment. And the great thing is that I can scroll through all the sections that I can test out. So I can be in API Explorer and I can be in document in separate pages without having to distract the users from one to another. And if we go back to the documentation, on top of this API Explorer, we also have here changelog. So with changelog, we automatically detect the changes that have been going on with your documentation or with your APIs. I can see all of them here, and we just published here, so there's not many changes. But the great thing is that your readers can also subscribe to those and receive email notifications every time there are changes to your documentation. I also want to talk about ChatGPT, but I need to, by default, it is disabled. So I need to go to the project and enable that. And by the way, this is how now project management looks like in Theneo. First, you see analytics. So you see the comment that I just left. We just created these projects, so there is not really a lot to show in terms of users, views, and sessions. But once this project gets more attention, it will have more information to show. And in terms of the settings, first, if I want to upload a logo for this specific project in light and dark mode or change the URL, I can do it from here. I can always go to features, and this would be a perfect place where I can just enable ChatGPT. Or if I want to disable something, like maybe I don't want the users to test out the API, I can always disable right from here, the API Explorer. Or if I want to put default dark theme, I can also enable that. And I can also connect to my domain from here. If I want it for a specific project or for a specific developer portal, then I can do it from here. And you saw before that in the menu on top right, we were showing API Explorer and changelog. If you need to delete this or add anything on top, it's very simple. You can just do it from here. And if we go to access management, so if I want to make this public, I can go ahead and add it to public. I can invite my team members. And we also have advanced access management. So that means that let's say if you want to make specific section private, let's say I want to make the store private, but other sections public, I can just go ahead and do it. Also, I can make it user-specific permission as well, meaning if I want API reference or let's say store to be available to only very specific user, but hidden for others, that's something that I can do as well. And for SEO management, you can manage all of your sections from titles, descriptions, keywords. You can customize it however you want to, including also uploading your image. Or if you don't want your project to be indexable, you can always turn on no index. And lastly, with a changelog, you can always see that what's going on with your documentation and open the public changelog here from here as well. So now let's look at how ChatGPT looks like inside the documentation. So when you go to search, here we have Ask ChatGPT. So user can ask any type of questions, from business questions to code questions. For example, generate code in very specific framework, right? Or in this case, I'm going to ask, what is this API about? It will give me in real time a response. And also it will reference where I can find more information. I'm going to stop generating this and I'm going to ask a different type of question. Let me think what the question should be. Let's say here we are updating a pet. I'm going to say, how do I update pet using PHP specifically for, say, Drupal 9. So it's very specific framework and also specific language. I'm asking how I can do this, and it will guide me through the entire process, as well as giving me the code snippets that I can use. Your readers can ask very specific questions and have basically the entire guides generated for them. And this has so far been very helpful for our clients, where they have seen less customer support questions because of the AI assistant. So we definitely encourage you to give it a try and to let your users to know about this feature as well. So this is when it comes to projects, and I already mentioned about how you can manage here your projects. If you have different workspaces, you can always have a look at from here, and also different statuses of your different projects. And talking about branding, like I said, you can always customize your documents from light mode to dark mode, not only obviously images and fonts, but also when it comes to every element that you see in published version. So code snippets to code blocks to error messages. You have a lot of options, but you can customize it exactly how you want to, not only in light mode, but also in dark mode. So it looks exactly like your own product. We also have a developer portal, but for that, I'm going to include a different link to a different video where you can see in details how it works. And when we go to user settings, let me go back to dark mode. You have here, obviously, your user profile, where you can, if you want to upload a picture, etc., blah, blah, blah. But let's go to tools and integrations. Let me hide my API key though. So here we have different tools that are available. If you haven't already, give it a try to our VS Code. You can also set up GitHub automation, Postman sync. We also have NPM package, and we have Bitbucket integration. There are more details available for each one of those in our YouTube videos, as well as you can find the guides here. Again, I do recommend to check those out. And in admin, that's where you can add, you can have your team members and manage your team members and add different guests or editors, etc. And if you need to change the URL or workspace, etc., that's where you can do from. And lastly, you can manage your billing and subscription right from here. So this is a very quick overview of our platform. If you have any questions or if you face any issues, feel free to ping us. We have a chat box here, and we are quite responsive. So feel free to message us anytime, and we look forward to seeing you in Theneo. Thank you.